What's up and welcome to Me, You, and Switch 2. I am me, Tom Tate, and you are you, so let's talk about Switch 2. This is the latest and greatest Nintendo Switch 2 news brought to you every Tuesday and Friday in snackable 5 to 10 minute episodes. Today happens to be Friday. It is July 24th. It is 7:46 a.m. on the East Coast. This is episode 120. I am very stoked it's Friday. I hope that you are too. I hope your week is going well. We've actually been without air conditioning all week. And it's been hot here. I live outside of Philadelphia. It's been hot, but it's been very bearable. So I'm just so grateful we dodged a heat wave this week. If this happened a couple weeks ago when we had those 100-degree days, we'd be roasting. But we're getting a whole new HVAC system installed Sunday. My wallet is not happy, but my wife and kids will be. So honestly, that's good enough for me. We've got a lot to cover today. As you can tell from the title, we will dive into the Splatoon Raiders reviews that appeared over the past couple of days. Then I just want to hit just maybe one or two smaller headlines before I let you get on with your Friday and, well, honestly, get on with whatever day you're listening to the show on. So Splatoon Raiders, it released yesterday, July 23rd for $49.99, which is a pretty good price after everything that I've read, which I'll share with you in just a minute. Here is the description in the eShop. Hunt for treasure in a wild adventure. In this single-player focused game, play as a mechanic working with Deep Cut, a trio of swashbuckling musicians, and venture out into the mysterious Spherolite Islands. Customize your character, kit yourself out with mechanical gadgets and ink-splattering weapons, and take on waves of enemy salmonids as you raid the islands for treasure. So, if you're not familiar with the Splatoon series, this is actually the fourth game in the series, but it is not Splatoon 4. It follows Splatoon 3. These games are typically third-person shooters that focus on multiplayer gameplay, but instead of like violent deathmatch style shooting, this franchise is peak Nintendo, right? So it's very cute and artsy. You are equipped with various weapons that sling colored paint, so it's very colorful. And many of the game modes involve spreading paint around your environment while taking down your opponents. So Splatoon was a Wii U release. Splatoon 2 and 3 released on Nintendo Switch. Now the focus is typically multiplayer, but they do have single-player campaigns or story modes and various single-player expansions within the first three games. I did do one of these, probably Splatoon 2. I did the Salmon Run, which was their kind of single-player campaign. I remember the story being pretty throwaway at the time, but the gameplay was a blast. Like, I had a lot of fun doing this. This game is, Splatoon Raiders is not a multiplayer-focused game. It's more aligned to those single-player experiences, though you can play with friends. I read about 10 reviews or so of this game, so let's just dig into some of the highlights. Starting off with Brian Shea from Game Informer, he gave it an 8.75 out of 10. He does his best to explain what this game is, but honestly, if you've never played or seen Splatoon before, I think you'll get lost in his review. But he does eventually kind of bring it on home towards the end of the review. He writes, Splatoon Raiders is the kind of game I struggle to put down. Most raids only take minutes to complete, and the steady feeling of upgrading your abilities constantly tempted me to play just one more to test out the latest tweaks I made. Though Splatoon's single-player content has always been underappreciated, Splatoon Raiders makes it difficult to ignore, shining a bright light on the series' oft-slept-on side. In my head, I can't help but read that in Brian's voice because I've listened to dozens of hours of his podcast. IGN's Logan Plant titled his review subtitle, An Incredibly Well-Designed Action RPG with Deep Customization and Challenging Battles. Now, I did not think of Splatoon Raiders as an RPG until he described it in that way. His review is good too. I'm going to link to that in the show notes. Logan said he's already in for over 40 hours. He had a lot of positives to share. Here's a quote from his review. It's all about tinkering. I love crafting my build to get just a little bit stronger, putting it to the test in challenging, varied stages, and then sifting through the meaningful loot I earned to see what creative combination I can glue together next. When you stack that classic but expertly executed loop on top of Splatoon's already awesome foundation, you get the strongest campaign this series has ever seen and one of the best Switch 2 games so far. It's a really bold statement to say it's one of the best Switch 2 games so far, but he did give it a 9 out of 10. This is actually a very detailed review. It goes over a lot of the different level types. So again, I'm going to link to these. If you want to read one that goes into like the mechanics of the game, definitely check out the IGN review. Polygon's Giovanni Colantonio subtitled his review, "The Switch 2 exclusive is a full-blown looter shooter that goes way deeper than you'd expect." So this one made me pause. Maybe I'm old. Maybe I'm just an old washed-up gamer, but I didn't know what a looter shooter was, so I had to look this up on Wikipedia. And the definition is, looter shooter is a subgenre of action role-playing games that incorporates shooter gameplay and procedurally generated weapons and equipment. A main goal of games in the genre is obtaining better items through grinding for random drops, typically with rarities ranging from common to legendary. So a quick education that I had to go through on looter shooters. Apparently this is like Borderlands or Destiny, and those are actually two franchises I just never got into. So I guess this makes a little sense. That was a quick aside, but Giovanni praises the game's build system and had a lot to share on how he experimented and played with different builds. He said the later missions are so chaotic, he felt like he was playing Vampire Survivors. In terms of longevity and kind of how much, bang for your buck you'll get with this game, Giovanni played for over 30 hours, and he said he had more missions to complete, even at 30 hours, but the story itself was about 15 hours, so there's a lot of post-credits material, apparently. Nintendo Life's Alex Olney has a very comprehensive review. He made a few great points. He said Splatoon Raiders is salmon run to an extent, but it feels to me like a side mode from Splatoon 4 that simply got out of hand. And I think that's a real possibility. I really appreciated this perspective. It's almost like they are working on Splatoon 4 and they got so ambitious with the single player content that they just branched it off. And that might actually justify why they are looking at this as a $50 title versus $60 or $70, right? The idea that this is $49.99 makes me think that it was never really designed to be a standalone game in the first place. It just got out of hand, to Alex's point. He also wrote, graphics are crisp in docked mode, looking to my eye like a very solid 1440p with a rare instance of anti-aliasing for a Nintendo game and a pin-sharp 1080p in handheld. Here are his pros and cons. His joys: a ludicrous amount of game for the price, endless customization options, caters to all skill levels and playstyles. The new Salmonids are all wonderful and horrifying. No pulled punches for hardcore difficulty lovers. Incredibly robust multiplayer options for a single-player game. His cons: arguably could have done more to push the series' boundaries, and if you don't like Splatoon, this probably won't change your mind. He gave it a 9 out of 10. Nintendo Life also has their review roundup post, which I'll drop a link to. Some highlights there. Tech Radar Gaming gave it a 5 out of 5. Pocket Tactics gave it a 10 out of 10. Eurogamer, 4 out of 5. I saw that Ryan Janes over at Nintendo Insider gave it a 9 out of 10. So overall, a very impressive slate of reviews. We actually own this game. I had it pre-ordered. I haven't played it yet because I let my son get the first pass since he's a massive Splatoon fan. And this idea of the gameplay loop being addicting and lending itself to tinkering your loadout and just doing one more run, it's definitely real, because I asked this kid to shut it down and go to bed like 20 times before he finally just put the Switch to sleep mid-run to pick it up the next day. And he said after maybe like an hour of playing it that he gives it a 10 out of 10, which is a bold claim. But that's just after 1 hour of gameplay. So that was his early impressions. I'll get more impressions from him, and I'm going to play it myself this weekend, and I will report back. All right, let's speed run just a few quick ones, and then I will get back to work, and you can get back to your weekend. As I shared on the last episode, the Duskbloods network test will take place between Friday, August 21st through Sunday, August 23rd. And according to an article by Polygon, the application period to participate in the network test starts on Wednesday, July 22nd at 10 a.m., so it already started, and it ends on Tuesday, July 28th at 9:59 a.m. Eastern Time. Before signing up for the Duskbloods network test, there are 3 prerequisites you must meet. To apply, you must have a Nintendo account, a Nintendo Switch 2 console, and an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. Applying does not guarantee participation in the network test. From Software will announce the selected participants on Friday, August 7th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm reading all that verbatim from Polygon. I'm going to drop a link. There are step-by-step directions in this article. I'm not going to read them all, but the link is in the notes, or you can just Google it. Google can be helpful sometimes. Game Informer profiled a game called Echo Weaver that looks pretty cool. It is described as an indie Metroid-inspired game. We don't have a shortage of these types of games. I know Mio, M-I-O, was very popular, very well reviewed this year. Of course, we had Silksong, but Game Informer did have some positive things to say about Echo Weaver, and it will arrive on October 8th on Switch 2, other consoles, and PC. I think that's going to be it for today. We're over the 10-minute mark. I have a few other things. I'm going to save them for Monday. Enjoy the weekend because, as I like to say, Monday comes fast. Please, thoughts and prayers for my HVAC installation, that everything goes okay, no issues. Thank you. Switch2pod.com for all the things. That's Switch with the number 2 pod. Switch2pod on Instagram and Blue Sky. Patreon.com/Switch2pod. For all the free bonus content. I have all of the outline ready for the next one, and I finally have a free weekend to do that. So I'm going to record over the weekend. A kind rating or review really goes a long way. It helps me continue to grow the show. More importantly, it helps people discover the show. If they're searching, it just kind of helps with that discoverability. You can just take 10 seconds and leave a star rating. You don't even have to write anything. That would be much appreciated. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Much love. Now go play some games.